Do I up there or down here?
You're down there.
I'm down here.
Yeah, you're going to be on that flywheel.
All right.
Yep.
Just start pulling?
Yeah, start pulling.
Okay.
Okay, what I actually think, stop just a second. It fired once,
Yeah.
it's out of fuel.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna throw some more gas in.
What year is this?
1923.
1923. Rumley?
I'm just giving you it can kick back on you.
Ah,
So-
okay.
So be ready for that, to be ready to let go of it.
Okay.
I think you're almost there.
Andrew's going to show me how to do it.
Okay. Let's stop just a second. Normally, well, for me, this is kind of normal. So when we're up here with him, it's normally started pretty quick. You get the idea. If it gets one good firing, that flywheel will go, and then it'll hit again, and hit again, and it truly, it's hold on a second. I probably need to put some fuel in here. It comes to life. One thing that we can do, though, we can just get my Jeep and we can pull start this thing so easy.
I was trying to get it past the compression because it sparks past dead center, you know.
top speed. Shut your mouth.
Why would you want to ruin moonshine by running this?
Produce more.
Oh, just kidding. This is cool. Thank you. lot of inertia right there.
Post-run washer.
Awesome.
Good job
Thanks.
on starting it.
Yeah, he did.
So you saw
That
it,
was-
it fired, and then we almost lost it, and it hit again. And
Yeah.
it does come to life. It's an amazing tractor. Built in 1923, and to do a walk around, honestly, I'd have to go back and do some research on Rumley, but you can Google it and find out. But this Rumley is the tractor that put the steam engines out of business, and the way it was explained to me, the guy I bought this from, Scott Thompson, he'd owned it for almost 25 years, and the guy he bought it from owned it for almost 25 years. So they don't change hands real often. And he explained to me that this was it was a sod buster for the prairies. So back back early on, before we ever farmed any of the land, that land had never been turned over since God created the earth. So the steam engine was the only thing we had in the 1800s and the early 1900s that would have enough horsepower to bust that. But a steam engine, as powerful and as technologically advanced as it was very cumbersome and difficult to run. I would love to have a steam engine. Jay Leno's got some, and Google and watch some of his stuff. I love watching some of Jay Leno's garage and his steam engines, but you got to start about 4 hours before you want to run to start getting the steam engine ready to go. That's assuming you oiled it the night before. So when they came out with the Rumley, as you can see, just fill it up with fuel and oil and pull it through right here. You don't need a battery or anything, and starts, and these things ran all day, every day for many years. So they're extremely dependable tractors. You think of this as, it's not a toy, it's an extremely well-built, heavy tractor. So this is a Rumley 2040, meaning I believe it's got 20 horsepower at the drawbar and 40 horsepower over on the pulley.
Okay.
So two purposes: you could pull with it and pull a plow. And this particular tractor here, if you look at this big sprocket here, it's got a lot of wear on it. A lot of wear on this sprocket. The distance between the bull and the pinion is pretty significant, but it will never wear out in our lifetimes doing what we do, running it in parades and things like this. But this tractor has been pulled quite a bit, and it pulled a grader. You know, the old graders that you see that were pulled with a tractor? This pulled a grader for a city or a county up in the Midwest. That was a big, huge percent of its life. That's when he got all this wear.
How often do you got to oil it?
We oil it every time we basically run it.
Wow.
We oil it and pre-oil it. Big 2-cylinder engine. Again, for a walk around, I wished I knew this. You know, like the airplanes rattle off all the numbers like you think I'm impressive. I would just read it ahead of time and be able to quote it off. But two massive cylinders here, turning extremely slow. You saw the RPMs were really slow, so you can, two ways to get horsepower. You know, you can have a huge cylinder turning slow, or you can have a little bitty cylinder turning 10,000 RPMs, like they do in the race cars. But this is a very low compression, large bore cylinder, and you started actually with the petcocks open. If you want to come up here, Eric, and show you this a while ago when we started the tractor. These petcocks are like taking the spark plug out. You open that thing up, it's about a 1/2-inch pipe, and you open that up, and there's your spark plug and going up to one magneto, and then there's no kill switch. So we put fuel in right there. We dump some fuel in there and dump some fuel in right there. This is your carburetor. We fill this up with fuel until fuel comes out this hole right here. We open this valve up, and that's our that's our primer. This is our main fuel right here that's turned off. Once it starts, we open this up one full turn. Fuel comes to here from the big fuel tank up front, being supplied by these two pumps right here. The left one is a fuel pump. It's pumping fuel into the carburetor, and the right one is a water pump pumping water into this side of the carburetor. So there was water injection. When you're really working a tractor really hard, they found out way back that you inject water in with the carburetor to help keep the tractor cool. We thought that was something Reno air racers figured out, or World War II. No, this happened way early on, water injection. But the cool thing about the Rumley is it's a piston engine, spark plug powered device, but it will burn kerosene, it will burn diesel, jet fuel. Right now it's got a combination of gasoline and diesel, and it'll burn just about anything because it's a very low compression engine. So pretty impressive. So as you saw, you pull it, you get it started, it'll fire, and then it'll fire again, and then once it gets kind of up to speed, you come up here and you just close these valves, and you're off to the races and running. You do have a throttle right here that works the governor, but I don't find it to be overly effective. I called the guy, and he said in reality it doesn't make very little difference. If we were running a Thrasher or something, then you might want to throttle it up a little bit, but the way we're doing it, it idles just fine. The governor works good though. You saw when we get it under a load, adds fuel, and the governor's very effective. Pretty simple to operate right here. We've got this big lever right here, and this is our transmission. And so we have a low forward, you gotta move the clutch a little bit to get it in gear. But that's first gear right there. That's second gear. That's high. You saw that work a while ago. And then down is reverse. So you go ahead and put it in whatever gear you want, and then you have a clutch over here, and you basically just engage that clutch. And I'll let you get out here in a minute, and you can just see it's just a big mechanical clutch like a Model T. You engage that clutch, and then it starts to go. Okay, the clutch is off right now. Clutch is off. I'm going to engage it. You can see the arms come in.
Oh yeah.
It's real simple, but it's very effective. Now then, if we were running a thrasher or grinder or anything like that, we were wanting to use that wheel, all we would do is we would put it in neutral, engage the clutch, and that thing's off and running. You got a belt conveyor that's going to go out to your accessory out front. You can Google that, YouTube videos of antique thrashers, and you can see these things running. Pretty fun.
That's
It's got an oiler up here, an oil pump, and I can manually turn this, and you can see the oil dripping in all of the different areas that that engine is supposed to be oiled. And through that glass, as long as you see oil dripping out of each one of those points, you know the tractor's being oiled, and it works pretty effective. And you got set screws right there. You can adjust how much oil goes into each particular location. One thing that's unique about an oil pull tractor, well, there's a lot of things unique about it. One of the main things that's unique, these were used up in the north where it freezes. So, what happens to radiators? They bust, and I mean, we're talking stupid cold. This is the radiator up front. It's full of kerosene. It uses oil to cool the engine, and so it will never freeze. Again, I wished I knew more about them.
That's great.
I've seen them before, and with that right there, we could do another video if I schooled myself up a little bit. But I'm real proud to have it as a part of our museum, and we've got a pretty good selection of aircraft right now, 50 or so aircraft that fly. So the idea is, over a period of the next 2 years, is to build another museum, and I'd like to call it the Museum of Innovation, American Innovation. So starting at the Industrial Revolution forward, innovation can be tractors, it can be automobiles, musical instruments, electricity, motors, generators, radio, things that a lot of things have happened over the last 150 years that didn't happen the previous 2,000 years. So we live in an amazing time of reaping the benefits of innovation, starting at the Industrial Revolution. I think that museum, a person walked through that, I think, are you really interested in buying a Rumley oil pull? Probably not, but who wouldn't be interested in seeing this and watching a video and seeing this thing run?
You could almost sell rides on this.
You really could. You really could.
It's so cool.
But we love aviation, but I just enjoy the history of innovation in America. It's pretty amazing. And all this stuff was built. You look at this stuff right here. All this stuff was built on machines. Milling machines and lathes that had no CNC. And that's the thing, to go out, for me to build that part right now, with CNC, I could figure out how to build that part. To build it, to forge it by hand the way these guys did, people back in those days before World War II, they were truly artists. Yeah. To be able to build this equipment and mass produce it. They built thousands of tractors. These were not hundreds, these were thousands. And honestly, people have asked me how many of these are left. There's several hundred of these left. You never see them.
No.
Unless you go to a tractor show or something like this. Some of the smaller tractors we have over here, you see those, the Farmalls and the Olivers and those, which are really amazing. The fun part about these tractors, on a very, very slim budget, anybody can get into it. The airplanes have gotten to be so darned expensive, but we got a tractor back there for $700, and here's one that's perfectly restored, about $3,500, $4,000. So anybody that worked at McDonald's that wanted to get into the antique tractor side of this, you can order any part and have it overnighted. So I really enjoy that. This is in another league from these right here, but these are a tremendous amount of fun, man. Put this old Oliver right here and throw it in in a Christmas parade or something and have an absolute the same amount of fun that you can have with kind of an expensive.
Is that the old
Oliver.
crank start handle?
Yeah.
The old time?
We start it by hand. They start actually pretty easy.
Wow.
And if you get the mag timed right, they fire just after top dead center, so they won't kick back.
Oh, nice.
And that is really nice. You know, to get maximum power, you want to fire, you know, a few degrees before top dead center. But in reality, these things are so low compression and low RPMs. What's an extra little bit of power?
Yeah.
So, you know, the old Model Ts, you could retard the spark, so to make it basically fire past top dead center, so it won't kick back. If you forget to do that, and you're a little slow cranking, the thing can kick back on you and hurt you. That's pretty much all I know about them. But we appreciate you coming out. You never know what you're going to find around at Mid-American Flight Museum. Hey.
Thank you so much for letting me drive that. That was so.
Man, you're
that
welcome.
Was awesome.
It's a hoot. You know, you get all these jet jockeys in here, and they've flown 400 or 500 miles an hour, and you throw them in something like this, and they just have so much fun. And you know, and really, they have such an appreciation for history as well. And it's fun to bring people out and show them.
That's very true. Just like what Scott said about, you know, coming out here to the museum. I remember Warren Peach when he flew the Waco 9. He can't stop talking about it.
I know, and Warren is one of those guys he's an antiquer, and he's flown so many more airplanes than I ever will. But he had never flown a Waco 9, and I don't believe he'd ever flown behind an OX-5.
I don't think so. If I remember correctly,
I don't think so. So pretty fun to bring guys like that out and get to experience that with them.
Well, thank you so much, man. I
You
appreciate
bet.
it.
Thanks for coming out, Eric.